Okay, so just checking my setup here, make sure everything's correct, make sure the desktop audio is off because it causes feedback. And I've wanted to do a video, and I've done several stair videos, but they weren't very specific to an example, and I think this will be more of a real example. And I just try to do a little bit of prep here just to keep the time down. And so what I'm trying to show here is like a 10-inch poured concrete wall for a basement, which you see a lot of in Tennessee and other hilly neighborhoods, areas with mountains like we have in Tennessee. And they would usually be, heavily reinforced because, you would have the grade. I think I actually drew some earth on here, but it was annoying me, so I turned it off. So you might have that much backfill, on these walls. And I'm just trying to show a footing and the slab and what you might see in a typical basement situation. Sorry, I didn't mean to do all that zooming and stuff, but let me check my excuse me, check the YouTube side. Now for some reason I'm getting this fuzzy thing lately. I don't know if it's my bandwidth or what. I'm gonna have to call about that. But anyway, this video is about I noticed in my last video I saw that, but in the finished video it was cleared up, so hopefully that is not something that's going to turn out to be a regular thing. But anyway, I see a lot of comments on stairs and people wondering how they're built, and I thought one kind of typical situation we run into in the hills of Tennessee is where you have these basements, but then you'll see a stair that's aligned with a side of this wall, and planning that out is pretty important. I thought I would just I drew myself some joist here. I thought I would just copy, let's see, 16 inches times maybe 10 of them right now. Just put myself some joist out here. I don't think, maybe I didn't leave, I need to get rid of some of those. Excuse me. Let's just say our stair is going to start right here, and so right off the bat you can see you're going to run into a problem. On a floor plan you would typically just see the stair like right up against your, like on a typical floor plan you might see it like this. Then you'd see a wall thickness, let's say 4.5 inches. Like that. Let's turn this up this way a little bit. That would come down. And then you'd say, and then whoever was designing it would say, oh, I want a 36-inch stair. Right, and then they would draw the opening, come down here. And then they would start drawing their treads in 10 inches, like that, and so on. So then the guy, when the contractor goes to build it, he's like, oh, wait a minute. Now in some cases you might have a wall, say you've got a bedroom on the other side of this. Say there's a wall right here, 4.5, and you got a wall coming down through here, and on this side is a bedroom, and then you said, oh, I want to make this bedroom 12 feet, and you drew your wall over here. So see, now all of a sudden, if you assumed that this stair was 36 inches from this outside wall, oops, let me check my, yep. If you assumed that you could get by with this 36 inches, then, it would be fine, or you think you're fine, but then when you get to real life and you realize, oh, I got the thickness of this 10-inch wall to deal with now, I'm coming 36 inches from here, and you got to, and this bedroom all of a sudden gets 5-6 inches smaller. Then when you get ready to sell the house, your realtor's complaining that your bedroom's too small. You see, you can run into all kinds of problems. So the point of this video is to show that just simply laying these things out in three-dimensional space can help you. That's it. That's all I'm trying to show you. Very simple. And also how simple stairs can be. How I'm going to turn this around 90 degrees. And so what would happen is you would have, for the length of your stair opening, you would have this piece closing in, and that'll become more clear here in a second. And actually, what you would do is, for this part of it, you would go ahead and copy that mud seal and have it there too in this opening. So now you say to yourself, well, dang, how long does this stair opening have to be? Let's just go ahead and show. Let's just go ahead and put this over here for now. And you'd have little blocks in there so that your wall sitting on top of that would have some place to sit. But again, I have to stay focused or I get sidetracked. Let's see here. Anybody watching? Hey there, the liker. Uh-oh, I need to turn the volume on my... Oh, there's Oscar. Salty Shellback's going through Chattanooga, and he was saying hi. That's funny. Hey, Oscar. So anyway, so the next thing you would be asking yourself is, how long is this stair going to be? Okay, so how do I know where to put the other end of this floor system? Well, if you're a carpenter, you know that sometimes you can get by with about 10 feet. So just for the fun of it, we're going to run this down here at 10 feet. Again, like I said, just for the fun of it, and just to see what happens. So what you would normally do is, well, first you need to know what your flooring, your finishes are. Okay, so I'm going to draw myself a piece of plywood out here that is 48 by 96. And I knew I was going to do that, turn it the wrong way, but it's okay, I can flip it. Just to kind of demonstrate. Make that a group. And then I can spin this around. Oops. Gotta make sure that stays on the blue axis. There we go. Move that over. Now this is a piece of Advantech. Did I get the edge? And you see, you gotta be careful. And then obviously that would be cut to here, back to there, and then you would take another piece just to show how that would work. It would stagger. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's see, is it this one? Yeah. That 48 inches. It's this one. 3. You'd think ArtisanTony would know. It's the third joist. Let me come back here. Somewhere right there. And then, again, I don't want to get bogged down in too many details here, but I'm just trying to show you that we would have subfloor there as your, and then you would also have the thickness of your finished flooring to consider. So let's just draw ourselves a piece of wide plank flooring. call it 5.5 by, I don't know, 48 inches for right now. We'll bring it up 3/4 of an inch, and we'll make a group out of that. And this is just supposed to represent, let's go back to our materials and select bamboo. How about that? Okay, so that's going to be, and again, I'm just trying to show thickness. I'm not trying to show anything else. I just want to get something in here to measure to. Now, if I had 3 or 4 hours, I would go ahead and show, how this is going to hang over an inch and all that. But for now, what I'm trying to demonstrate is just the idea of getting the materials that you're going to use represented. So now what you can do, and what we're assuming is that this concrete, this floor down here is going to remain concrete because it's a basement. Now I'll show you how to account for it in just a minute when we're doing it. So what we would do is we would measure from the floor up to the top of our finished floor, and we've got 10 foot 5 1/4. Okay, so I know that's area speed limit signs. Oscar's asking me about the speed limit signs. Let's see that we're still, every now and then I like to see that I'm still broadcasting because stairs seem difficult. No, they're real simple, I promise. I'm going to show you how easy they are. So I know that, what did I say, 10 foot 5? I know 10 feet's 120, so I know that's 125.25, right? 125.25 is our rise. Okay, so now I know, here's the thing, the standard stair height is 7.5. The standard riser is 7.5 inches, 7.5. So the first thing I do, just to keep this simple, is divide my height by 7.25, just to see how close I would be. And so let me go back to my open broadcaster and open this up so I can see. So that gives me 17.3. So I know that if I divide the height, which is 125.25, if I divide that by 17, I'm going to have a little bit over, you see, a little bit over 7.36, which is easy, which is an easy stair height. 7.36 is what's 3 divided by 8? Yeah, so it's basically 7 3/8. But I'm going to keep that number in my head, or I'm going to keep it on my calculator. 125.25 was our rise, divided by 17 equals 7.367. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down, and this is the way I like to do it, just to keep it simple. Is I'm going to start to draw myself a stringer here. Okay, and then I'll show you how to translate this stringer into something you can use in real life. So I'm going to come down 7.367. Then I'm going to come out, and that red axis is the axis I want to be on. I'm going to come out 10 because 10 is the most common tread. And then I'm going to go down 7.36. What is it? 367. In a minute I'll be able to copy these. 367. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one. I'm going to get rid of this one because I don't need it anymore. I'm going to copy this. This is a little bit hard to see the way I'm doing this. Maybe I could get it at an angle. And I'm just going to copy it down 10 times. No, I said 17, didn't I? But I'm already down once, so I'm going to go down 16 times. times 16. If you're looking at my bottom right hand corner here, you'll see that all I did was copy it down and then use the asterisk key times 16, and that just copied that down, and that should be right on the concrete floor now. This one should be, if I measure this, if I measure from here down to the concrete, oops, why am I getting 8 1/4? So what did I do wrong? 10 foot 5. Let me just do my math over again. 10 times 12 is 120 plus 5. That's 5. 125.25. 125.25 divided by 17 equals 7.36. What did I do wrong? That's 7 3/8. Let's go all the way down. What was I measuring? What in the world? It is 7 3/8. How did I get 8 inches a while ago? This is the funny thing. That's a weird. Okay, so I don't know what I was measuring to a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago. Oh, wait a minute. It's happening again. Oh, I must be, you know what happened? I was measuring to the bottom of the concrete slab accidentally. This is why you gotta be careful. You have to be very careful. So anyway, we're good. Thank you, Jesus. So what I'm gonna do is just draw myself a construction line. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna make this concrete lighter just so we can see. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna make it really, there we go. Make the contrast. And what I did was I made myself a construction line because now, excuse me, let's see. What I want to do before though is go, this is my 7 3/8. So that has to include my riser, my tread, I'm sorry. So I need to come down 1 inch. Actually, I'm going to come down 1 3/4 inches, and I'll show you why. 1.75 here in a minute. That's actually going to be the thickness of my 1.75. That's actually the thickness of my tread and the way I love to do my stairs as an artisan, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to get to is the thickness of the width, I'm sorry, of my stringer, which is 11.25. Okay, so now I can bring this down to that line, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. To there, and then to there, and that should have closed. There we go. And now I'm going to bring that out 1.5 inches, 5, and voila, we have ourselves a stringer. Now, I know what you're saying, that looks weird. Well, I'm going to show you what I like to do. Okay, so if we were going to use let me take that thickness back for a second, and I'll show you why. I'm going to draw the actual tread on here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Well, that's going to be so your treads are usually 1 inch thick, okay? And you will have a 1 inch nose, okay? So that will come out like that, go up like that, go over like that. See, now I can get rid of this, and then that will be and so what I can do is I can do the same thing here. One. Well, I don't need to do that. I can just draw it down one here, come out 1 more inch, go up an inch. Oops. Like that. And then I can try to decide how I want to do this. Sometimes I change my mind in midstream. Do I want to draw I just want to draw the stringer for right now. But and you'll see why this matters. 3/4. I'm going to come down 3/4 of an inch for my Advantech. Then I'm going to come back 3/4 of an inch for my riser piece, like that. And this is actually going to be my stringer here. So then from there I need to go down 7 3/8, or I better keep it real by making this 3/4 and going back to there. Oops, missed it. And I know what you're thinking, well, Tony, this seems like a lot of trouble. It's not, I promise. It's not a lot of trouble. So now what I'm going to do is copy. I'm going to make me one more like this. Let me go down here 3/4. We'll go down 1, then 3/4, like that, and then that'll be my. Okay, so that is my actual stringer right there. So I'm going to copy this, go down here, times, I don't know, 17 or times 16, and that should have copied all the way down. And that's my actual stringer. Okay, so I can bring this out 1.5. See, that's the actual stringer. And then I'll show you this. What I like to do on my steps is put down, let's bring this over. We'll just make that 36 inches for now. I like to put down a temporary, it's not temporary, it's permanent. I like to take Advantech and put down this layer while I'm building it, right? Let's see if I can make that its own layer without, let's do this. There we go. What I should have done was copy that. I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit in trying to show you how I do this. I kind of got ahead of myself a little bit. Did I leave that as a group? Yeah. So let's pull this off. I'm going to pull this over here for now, and then I'm going to fix that. Yeah, I'm going to fix this. and I'm going to delete this. I'm going to leave this for right now. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get myself back to where I should have just drawn. I should have just drawn the stringer first, but I was trying to show you how I do it at the same time. And in the process, I screwed up my drawing standards, which is, my standard is to create a group for each item. Okay, so what I want to do in my drawing to keep it organized is I want to keep this all. Let's see if I grabbed I accidentally grabbed that, didn't I? I can hit the shift key and take that out. Let's do this. Let's all this trouble if I had just paid attention to what I was doing. Never fails. I think the easiest way to do this is just to go ahead and make this a group by itself and then move it. That's going to be my tread. But for now, the other thing I'm going to do is delete this stupid thing. I don't know why I put that in there in the first place. Now I can grab this whole thing without grabbing anything else and make my stringer a group. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, so now what we're going to do is move this over to here, but we're going to bring it out 3 inches, and I'll show you why later. But now we're starting to get to the point to where we realize why or how wide we want our stair. We want our stair 3 feet. Really, I like to make them 42 inches from there, you see, and now you can see why how it would have been a big screw up. We would have had to take out 10 inches out of that bedroom that was over there. And this is why we want to plan this. And then, so on a stair like this, I would have another stringer here, but I'm going to move it over 1.5 inches again, this way. And again, I'll tell you why in a minute. And then I would have one in the middle. What have I got here? 3 foot 1.5. Might even have, well, since I've got, what is that? 37.5, that's 18.25, but I'm going, let's see, I know that's not right, so I'll just check to see what I got between them. 14.25. Okay, so I need to move it over this way. 1/4 inch. Get it in the middle, that's close enough. So now if you were going to use what's that line over there? If you're just going to use stringers, and you're not going to do what I'm talking about doing right now, which is I take this piece of Advantech. And I do this because in construction, we'll create these temporary stairs. My board don't have an edge on it. What a lot of contractors will do is they will nail down a couple of 2x4s on here, and then you'll take them off later. I like to actually put this down permanently. I'll glue and screw this Advantech down on every tread, and it's a lot safer for the job. You'll have a lot less people tripping over oh, I know what happened. I had already allowed for the riser material, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to copy this down, what, 16 times, or how many times? Times 6, I've lost track of. Okay, so now I have one of those on every, I have a feeling there's one under the concrete. I'm not going to worry about it right now. What is that? Down there. So that's how that would work. That's how we would frame those. Okay, so in your floor plan, you realize now that your wall from the outside, oops, I quit zooming in so quick, needs to be 4 foot forward from the outside. Now, the reason that these are over 1.5 inches is because what we do is we nail on to this outside stringer a 2x4 like this, 0.5. It goes all the way down. Of course, it would be in pieces, right? And what that does is it spaces 1.5. It spaces the wall so that you can put your drywall. It spaces the wall away from the stringer so you can slide drywall down in here behind it, and you don't have to cut the drywall in the shape of the stringers. Okay, and it also adds rigidity. Now on a stair this long, that's not 12 feet, right? The code says that it's not 12 feet because it's only a 10-foot wall. The code says that if you go more than 12 feet in height, that you would have to have a landing, you know, with at that point where you had 12 feet or more. But since this is only a 10, we poured 10-foot concrete walls here, and we're only using 2x10s for our floor joist, that we're clear. Get rid of some of these construction lines. They just clutter up the place. Okay, and that's the same over here. You would have a space. Now over here, if you remember, I made it 3 inches, and the reason for that is, I'll just do this real quick. Let's say it's 3.5. Oops, what did I do? Here you would take treated 2x4s, 1.5, and you would run them wherever, you know, from there, wherever, you know, you're going to run them to up there, down. And the reason for that is because you're going to want to, if you're doing this, if you want to create a finish on this wall, just make that a thing, a group. And they might be, they would be 16 inches on center, let's say times 10 that way, just to run them back there. So you see, what did I do? I copied the dang, what did I do? Oops, I accidentally paste in place. I accidentally got the tread in there. Let's do that again. 16, times, let's say 6 seemed to be enough. So wherever you wanted the finish to be, you would have those 2x4s, and that way you could put a drywall or whatever on there, and you would still have that 1.5 inch space. That you would have a 2x4 like this on that stringer too, and it makes it really strong. And then what would happen is you'd run your what you would probably do is probably the simplest thing to do on these is probably, for now I'm just going to show this subfloor. Coming out, and just for the fun of it, we're going to show it to here for now, and then that would come all the way out. And then your wall will be sitting on top of that. I'm not going to build this whole house, I promise. 36 by, what am I going to say, 3.5. Let's show that as a group. We're making a group. I should have done that before I so then your wall is coming down like that or whatever. Let's see. Like that. And then you would have your, do I need to make a piece of sheetrock too? Your sheetrock would go on here. I think I'm going to bypass all these finishes to get to the point I was trying to make about head height on the stairs. Have I got any questions here? Let's see. Hello from Denmark. Hey, am I still going here? Yeah, sometimes I have to check this software to make sure it's still working. I'm talking about those common staircases. I'm talking about those spiral ones. The ones that, oh yeah, those are, you pretty much, when we do the spiral, when we do those spiral staircases, we usually order those custom. We would go here and measure our exact floor height like we did here, and we would just call the company and say, hey, we have a 10-foot 5.5 rise, and tell them how big to make them, what our diameter would be, or the radius, and then they would make them. But I guess just to show you, since I went ahead and drew this, I guess I better go ahead and show what I would have done with it. We would have put it, so I'll be totally accurate because I don't have the finishes on here, but and this would hang out 1 inch. Well, it's funny I say that. I'm not showing my riser board yet. So it would come out 3/4, so it would be 1 inch and 3/4, 1.75. Yeah. Actually, it would come out 1, and then this whole thing would come out 3/4. And I'll show you why. Ooh, that's not the right width. This is supposed to be, it's way too wide. It's supposed to be 11.25. Where'd my line go? There it is. And then what we would do here, I'm going to cheat, use this. We would take a 1x, which means this would have to go back in 1/4 of an inch. And it would also be a 1x8, so that means this is going to be 7 1/4. there's our riser board. It would go up under here, like that. Stinking construction lines are always there. I was going to deal with them. So then what happens is, let's just put this, dang it. For now, I'm just going to run this tread over here for the fun of it. I'm going to just show you from this angle how these would be finished out, and then you would get a see how that would work. So it wouldn't matter that your 1x8 doesn't go all the way down, because your next tread is going to take up that, and then you would have another one here like that. See, and that also goes over to meet the drywall that you put. And I'm trying not to get bogged down on these finishes, but I just wanted to show you, because one of the main things that I was wanting to show in this was head heights. See how that's going to finish out like that. Now this is probably, seems a bit wide, but it's right, that's correct. And then so you would just have that condition all the way down. I'm just going, how many do I need to copy down? 15. Like that. And these would be out of, oak, like your treads would be oak, and then your risers would be painted or oak too. But you see what that does is it makes that tread very strong, because you've got the stringer in the middle, and also that Advantech, that subfloor that's on top of it too. Most contractors don't do this. They'll just put the tread right on top of the stringers. I knew I'd copied down an extra one. It's funny. So now you're saying to yourself, what is this all about? Let me copy some more of these. Probably like 3 or 4 of them. That. So now we come to the crux of this. Check is it fuzzy? Because if you look at from my end, the YouTube side looks fuzzy. I don't know, it's weird. I feel like I'm supposed to have a gigabyte service, but I feel like I've got bandwidth problems here. Don't know, it's weird. Okay, so now here's what you have to do. Oh, and this is what's important. And I'm going to show this board, this finished floor, would be whatever. It'd be zigzag back and forth or whatever. Like that, or whatever. But it would be, what you would have up here is you'd have another riser that you have to put up here, but it's ripped down. This is something you need to be careful of too, is planning this out. The whole point of this is to see all the pieces that are involved so that you can plan them out, right? That's the whole point of my videos, is that you can't, you can't always think of everything. So that's going to come out to there, and then it's going to hang over an inch. Like that, see? And you can see that's it's all starting to finish out. But then, like that. So, okay, finally we reach the point. One of the points I was trying to make is that when you start to frame the other end of this, where does this go? Where does that go? Okay, so the code requires a 6'8", and I always like to go one more tread. I'll show you. The code requires 6'8" headroom right here. Okay, so I can get this at an angle where you can see me measuring it. So if I measure from the bottom of the floor framing straight down, and I hit the closest tread, which is that one, that's 6'6", see? So I need to run this out. Where was it? Which one is it? Let me measure again from here straight down, which is the blue axis, so I can lock it on that blue axis. And the closest, that's 7'1" though. So that's pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is draw myself a line straight up from this one. And see where that hits. Okay, so that shows you I got to move this back to here. Let me get that locked. I need to put that line on the edging thing. Oh, so I didn't actually hit it. Yeah, this is one thing about drawing in 3D. You got to be careful where I'm going to lock my axis and then try to go back to that line. Dang it. Dang it, dang it. Let's try to draw ourselves a line back to here. That's the green axis, right? This is just silly. Let me measure from here, from that line back. You see, before, if you were here when I first started, let me lock that, 10'9½". If you were here when I first started, I said, well, we typically make these openings 10 feet. Well, you can see that that's not big enough, and so what I might do is just put me a line right here and then just go 10'10" to keep it simple, to keep it sort of what I consider logical dimensions. Like, because when I'm dimensioning these things, I hate to come up with some weird. Now I should have a line here. Get rid of that thing. Now I can run this back. Now I've got something to lock to. Get rid of this thing. And then this thing wouldn't, this furring strip wouldn't be like that. It would be, if I can grab the top of it. Dang it. Just going to delete it for now. That's one way to get rid of it. Oh, I see. This does go all the way. And then this piece would stop here on that side of it. And then your joist would continue. these really wouldn't be up here. They would come in later, and they would probably be down lower somehow, just because they're just furring strips. They're not like any kind of special structural thing. But then from here, your layout would continue. 16. Well, yeah, it would continue from here. So we'll just pretend that that layout continues. 16 times, I don't know, 5 or 6. There we go. See, then your floor framing would just continue. And then you would have, if you didn't have a wall, oops, try to get rid of it. Sometimes I get these little, let's check the comments. Where's the cactus? That's funny. I should put one in here. Should put one in all the drawings. But so now you can see that if we had made our opening 10 feet, our head height would have been too short. You see, and this is why we plan this out in 3 dimensions. Now, back in the old days when we didn't have, let me show you. Is this the right view? Yeah. Turn this on, parallel projection. Back in the old days, when we didn't have 3-dimensional tools, we would draw it 2-dimensionally like this, like a section, and we would figure it out this way. See, but since we do have 3-dimensional tools, we can look at it in perspective and figure things out easily. Oh, let's check our headroom now. So what the building inspector would do is he would measure from here straight down, get on my blue axis, and it would be the closest to the closest nose. See, 7'2", which is fine. That's, you know, what you want, at least 6 foot, 8 in their finish. But see, you need to take into consideration: are you going to drop this ceiling in the basement, or are you going to leave it like this? Is there going to be duct work or anything like that? You need to plan all of that out, because if you had to say, oh, I'm going to drop the ceiling, you might end up having to take your opening all the way back to there. See, but what we do try to do is save floor space on this level, right? So we're not just going to make it some huge, we're not going to just take it all the way over to the end of here necessarily. We might want to put a closet up here in a bedroom on this level, see? So we don't want to waste floor space, but we want to have the proper head height at the same time. So you see how it matters. And let me check to see how long I've been going. How long have I been going? I don't know. So is there any questions? Anybody's got any questions I can answer about this? If we were just going to go back and say, okay, well, how are we going to finish this out? If we had a wall down here, we would, it really depends. It depends on how long these joists are. But like back in the old days, we would just double this one. Nowadays, what I might do is use an LVL here. I'll show you why in a second. So at a minimum, you'd want to double these joists on each end, because then what you're going to have is let's copy this one. Let's copy that joist over. It's going to be close to the right length. This one's going to come over, should be up to the bottom. It's going to come over all the way to this 1.5 inches, this 2x4. If I can get at the right angle to see it, yeah. Just like that, you see. And then it's going to be double too. And you'd have hangers, like you'd have double joist hangers on each end. Like that, see. And so if typically, you know, in the basement you're going to have a wall here. If you do have a wall here, then you don't have to really do all this doubling of this one, because your floor is just going to be sitting on that wall. Then you'd have this joist. Let's bring it from there. But you see, you might have a situation like this where you want to keep it open underneath, and then what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then these would have to be on joist hangers too. See, like that. And you got your stair opening, but what you have is an accurate representation of a stair opening. Now go from this, make sure I'm still going. Sometimes when I get that black screen, it's the black screen of death. But what is all this stuff? Oops. Don't know where these extra lines came from. I think I accidentally moved some stuff. Oh darn, I know what I did when I was accidentally screwed that up. But you can see now, if you watch this from the beginning, from where we started out thinking that if we're looking at this in plan view, let's just turn this from a top view and then turn it and give ourselves parallel or parallel projection. You can see now we got a whole different story here. We got this wall, we got a little edge here that's a little little landing, and then we've got our stair. Let me turn this back on perspective. See that? So all these things can be fixed, and I could go on forever here. I could spend all day detailing this, but it would get boring. But it's what I do on houses I'm building. I go this far because I want to know, you know, what I have to do, what my finishes are, all that kind of stuff. Let me see, check YouTube here. Isn't this staircase in the desert? It should be. So that, somehow I deleted my, this is just going crazy. Control Z. Yeah, somehow I deleted my stringers. That was weird. Anyway, I hope this helps. It always helps me. One quick thing is you can go to SketchUp, has a free version. If you just go to SketchUp free browser or whatever, SketchUp free, and this is relatively new. And you just say start modeling. You just have to sign in with your Google account, whatever that is. Most people have a Gmail address. It takes a minute for it to load, probably more than since I've already got SketchUp running in the background. But you see, you can just come in here and play around with this, and you can you can bring in drawings to play with, all that. So it's a very cool, very simple to learn, and very cool. So if you've got any any questions you have, just leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them, and hopefully this fuzziness is not what you're seeing. Thanks guys.